Now you can learn speed reading right in your own home with a personal computer and special speed reading self-improvement software. With so much information available today, a higher reading speed can keep you from getting snowed under in the paper crunch.
Writers and reporters at some city newspapers have put away their pencils and notepads, and they've picked up portable personal computers. While working out of town, they can send in their stories over the telephone.
And with computer communications becoming more popular, MCI recently started a service to compete with the United States Post Office. For the first time, there's an electronic mail service that allows you to send electronic messages to people who don't even have computers.
All of this and much, much more is next on the Personal Computer Show.
The Personal Computer Show, your window on the latest developments in computers for home, school, and business. You know, it seems that these funny typewriter televisions are creeping into all walks of life. And it gets frustrating sometimes, especially if you don't know anything about them. Hello, I'm John Edson, and probably the most asked question by people just getting familiar with personal computers is, what can they do?
Hi, I'm Kay Gaddy, and with that question in mind, we do have several examples of what you can do with personal computers, all coming up in just a moment. But first, we want to let you know that you could win a Radio Shack TRS-80 Model 4 portable computer absolutely free, just by being a viewer of today's show.
We'll give you the details on how you can enter our contest later in our show, but first we have some news from the computer industry.
Chalkboard Incorporated, a new company in Atlanta, Georgia, has announced a new product called Leonardo's Library. It is a collection of arts, music, mathematics, science, language arts, and social studies. Children access the programs by pressing Chalkboard's Power Pad, a touch-sensitive input device which makes using a computer simple enough for small children.
Sharp recently introduced a new small portable computer that's sometimes described as the portable office. Looking somewhat like a standard typewriter, the PC 5000 comes with 128K of memory, a built-in printer, an LCD display which folds over the keyboard for transporting the computer. The suggested retail price, under $2,000. Options including a communications modem, 5¼ disk drives, and bubble memory card.
NEC, the makers of the Radio Shack Model 100 portable computer, has introduced its own very similar model, the PC8201. Now, like the Radio Shack Model 100, it does feature built-in software and a regular typewriter-style keyboard. However, unlike the Model 100, the NEC Portable does not have a built-in communications modem, although an attachable one is available, and it does come standard with 16K of memory for a list price of under $800.
Many writers and newspaper reporters have started using portable computers like the NEC to gather their stories in the field. Applications range from sending in stories and scores from remote sporting events to researching material for stories from online databases. Kay has this report for you now.
The process of putting together a newspaper changed with the Industrial Revolution. High-speed typesetting and printing processes were developed, and the papers grew in size. Today, in the information revolution, newspapers are changing once again. Satellite technology has created nationwide daily newspapers, and reporters now work with their own personal computers. Brian Starfire, a writer for the Dallas Morning News, took his giant steps into the computer age with the help of a portable computer.
I like using a portable computer because a portable computer allows me mobility. I'm not locked into a location like I am with a desktop computer. With a desktop, I've got to use it usually near a power cord, and I just can't be productive wherever I'm at. I'm just the type of person that likes to be doing something. I hate it when I'm wasting time. A portable computer lets me utilize that time that otherwise it'd be wasted. I finished my story, and now I need to send it to the mainframe computers at the Dallas Morning News so it can be worked in with the text for publication. At the same time, Carol Holloway is also working on her story, and Keith, who is in our production department, is working on pulling both stories together and getting them in the kind of page layout that we need for the newspaper publication. So this is what I do to do that. I have acoustic couplers, which will allow me to link up to any standard telephone. I connect them to the back of the portable computer, turn it on, and then we simply take any standard telephone and match our couplers and dial the number, give it a few seconds for the dial tone, and once we receive it, we can upload a file by simply typing in the name of that file on the keyboard of the machine. And once we've done that, the machine will automatically send the story from the machine's memory through the telephone lines to the mainframe computers that we've got at the Dallas Morning News.
Because having a computer gives writers the opportunity to work anywhere they please, some who co-author stories never get a chance to meet. Working with Brian Starfire on the Discovery section of the Dallas Morning News, writer Carol Holloway has never spoken with him on the telephone, nor met him in person. The stories they've co-authored on science and computer technology were accomplished with the aid of the CompuServe Communications Network.
One of the things that has helped me most with the computer is being able to tie into a national database that I use called CompuServe, and then local bulletin boards. If there's a subject that I'm writing a story about and I need a person to talk to me about it, then I can call up one of the databases, leave a message, and wait for someone to call. It's a pretty easy thing to do, particularly with this particular computer. It's a matter of pressing a few buttons. Within minutes, I have a national database that several 100,000 people use, and I can leave messages for any of those people and get messages back from them from the computer. Sometimes they leave me information I need. Other times, they leave me phone numbers, and then I can call them over a regular phone line, take my notes on the computer, use my computer to write the story, and then send it over the same modem that I got the information from.
I think communications and computers are going to come together. That's the most important aspect that we're facing in the next few years. And primarily it's because when people find out the kind of things that they can use computers for, when they tie them into telephones for things like banking, shopping, electronic mail, they'll find that those kind of convenience items will just cause them to want to use computers for that type of thing.
There will always be a newspaper. There will always be something to hold in your hand, to store away, to clip out, to train your dog with, to line your bird cages with. We will always have newspapers. Not everyone is comfortable with a computer. Not everyone will be comfortable with a computer. There's something friendly about that big page of paper that you open in the morning.
How's it going, Dad?
Oh, it's okay, I guess.
We all could see it coming. Dad, it's time we had to talk about computers. And now that time's at hand. Come on, these guys are smart.
Big friends with the future at Computerland. Big friends with the future at Computerland.
We've helped more kinds of people buy more kinds of computers than any other store in the world.
Boy, he's really catching on. I'm very proud of him.
Reliable design and quality construction make MPI, Impact Matrix printers, the ideal choice to complement any computer system. High-resolution printer graphics capability is included as a standard feature for applications requiring plotting, printing of screen graphics, special fonts, or special characters. High speed and low price means MPI can do more for less. Ask your dealer for MPI.
Many of you who write to us each week are educators who find personal computers to be a very useful tool in the classroom. However, there's a consensus that we haven't done enough, especially as compared with the National Computer Literacy Program in Great Britain. The British Broadcasting Corporation created an educational package which consists of the Acorn computer, software, and an instructional television series. The Acorn BBC Micro, which has recently become available in the United States, currently accounts for more than 80% of the computers being ordered by British schools under a government plan to put a computer into every primary and secondary school.
And John, in addition to education, one of the most promising applications for personal computers is communications. Services like online databases, such as the Dow Jones News and Retrieval Service, home banking, and electronic mail, may make owning a computer as necessary as a telephone.
That's right, Kay, and one company, MCI, is banking on this. They've been quite successful in taking on AT&T, and now they've set their sights on U.S. Post Office's electronic mail service, ECOM. MCI Mail, as it's called, may be the alternative many computer users have been waiting for.
This is where all MCI Mail originates, at a personal computer, word processor, electronic typewriter, or data terminal. While the system is highly sophisticated, it's easy to use. It leads the sender from creation of a document through choice of delivery methods. The core of the system is instant electronic message transmission from one terminal to another terminal anywhere in the continental United States. For example, say you're in Dallas and you need to send a document to your corporate attorney in New York. The document is prepared on your personal computer. With a local call, you access the MCI Mail system. Your document is transmitted via microwaves to the MCI switching center at Naperville, Illinois. There, the message is stored until the recipient accesses the system to check his electronic mailbox. In this case, since there's a message waiting, your attorney can call it up on his word processor. If the receiving terminal has a printer, hard copies can be made. But what if you need to send information quickly to someone who doesn't have a terminal? In that case, the process begins the same way, but the delivery mode changes. Once the electronic message reaches the Naperville switching center, it is routed to the MCI Mail postal center nearest its destination. There, it is printed by state-of-the-art laser printers and hand-delivered. How fast? Well, how does 4-hour delivery sound? That's possible right now in many major metropolitan areas around the country, with more to be added later. When the electronic message is received at the MCI Postal Center, it is laser printed, with or without your company letterhead on plain bond paper, and dispatched via courier. Of course, if you don't need 4-hour delivery, you may opt for overnight delivery, available in 20,000 locations. It costs 30 to 50% less than existing overnight delivery services. If you have the luxury of 1 or 2 days to get your document delivered, an MCI letter may be what you need. If you have to mail a letter from San Francisco to Miami, it will take less time if you mail it in Miami in the first place. That's essentially what MCI Mail does. You put your electronic letter into the MCI Mail system. It is sent instantly to the MCI Postal Center nearest its destination, where it's printed and delivered to the local U.S. Postal Service for final delivery, thereby eliminating the long-haul portion of U.S. postal delivery. MCI's new postal system also eliminates some of the restrictions that have hampered other time-sensitive message delivery systems. With MCI Mail, deliveries can be initiated from a single terminal. No minimum number of messages is required. You can send 1 document or 1,000. MCI Mail can handle it all.
Graphics, word processing, spreadsheets. Every day, personal computers are helping more and more people do what they do better, faster, and more efficiently. And many of those same people turn to a magazine to help them get even more out of their computers. They rely on Personal Computing Magazine, America's guide to better computing.
I always knew a computer could help me control my inventory. I was just afraid to make the investment. But Personal Computing Magazine showed me how to get started. Told me about the best hardware and software for my needs, in language even I could understand. Personal computing is one of the best investments I've ever made.
I live out here in the country. I run a business 50 miles away in the city. But I do it right here. Personal Computing Magazine showed me how to commute by computer. Now, excuse me while I tidy up the office.
Getting to the top's a lot easier when you're armed with pertinent information. My personal computer puts that information right at my fingertips. Now I make better decisions in half the time. My best decision so far? Buying a personal computer. Next best, subscribing to Personal Computing Magazine. Now the possibilities are endless.
Whether you already own or are about to buy a personal computer, start putting Personal Computing Magazine to work for you now. Just call toll-free 1-800-441-8222 and order 12 issues of Personal Computing for just $11.97, our special introductory rate. Call 1-800-441-8222. That's 1-800-441-8222. Call now and we'll put personal computing right in the palm of your hand. Call 1-800-441-8222. Do it now.
There are many great advantages to having a personal computer at home. One of them is the various self-help and educational software programs that are now available. Let's take a look at a way you can learn speed reading with a personal computer. My guest expert is Tom Meadows, Vice President of BPI Systems in Austin, Texas. And I want to thank you for joining us today, Tom.
Thank you, John. I'm glad to be here.
I'd appreciate it if you'd let our viewers know a little bit about the background in your development of this new educational process. You might compare it to the Evelyn Woods Reading Dynamics course as far as speed reading and what you've done to update it.
Okay. The Evelyn Woods course, as is the case with all course work on speed reading, basically address three problems that individuals typically have with their reading skills. They tend to fix their eye on each word in the text.
Right.
They also tend to sub-vocalize or say the words to themselves as they're reading. And they also tend to go back and reread material that they've already read. And all of those tend to slow us down when we're trying to read.
And really this has nothing to do with your ultimate ability or capacity to read, but just bad habits.
That's exactly it. It's a series of bad habits that we have accumulated over time. When this product was first brought to us about 18 months ago, the author, Pete Code from California, had distilled the essence of good speed reading technique into a computer program that we felt had great potential both in the home and in education. And we began to work with that product to try to refine it and make it more user-friendly, if you will. And the product of that was the release of our speed reading product for the Apple II and Apple II Plus and IIe.
So would you say that the material in the speed reading course has now become more accessible or easier to learn by being presented in this form?
Well, yes, it is. It allows you to bring the basic techniques of speed reading into the privacy of your own home, if you will, so that you can pace yourself and be free of the classroom requirements that might typically accompany a speed reading course.
Good idea. Right now, let's show the viewers what the course looks like and let them go along with us. Who knows, maybe they'll improve their own reading speed while watching.
Okay, fine. John, most readers start with a reading speed somewhere between 100 and 200 words a minute. Let's take this pretest. And as we take the pretest, you will read through this material at a comfortable pace for you. When you have finished a page, you simply hit the return key.
All right, now I hit the return and then it gives me a new page.
Gives you a new page, and you are in complete control now of how quickly you read through this material.
So I'm not rushing, I'm just reading a normal leisurely
You want to
pace.
read comfortably. As you complete the test, a comprehension test is then available to determine not only how fast you have read, but how much you comprehend the material that you have just covered. Now, the combination of reading speed and comprehension is what's called reading effectiveness, and that's really what we're trying to improve, is the total reading effectiveness.
Right, because it's not going to do you any good if you read quickly and don't retain anything.
That's right. Now, you are in complete control of how quickly this material is presented on the screen.
All right, well, I'm reading through it and pushing the button as soon as I finish, and I'm getting a fresh page now.
And
is the machine figuring out how fast I'm doing
The machine has a clock, and it's timing you now as you go through this material. When you finish the last sentence in the last paragraph and hit return, the machine then will calculate your speed, and as you can see...
167, Tom, that's very disappointing. I thought I would read more quickly than that.
Well, John, I know it might be disappointing to you, but as it turns out, you're right in the mid-range of the typical reader who is not using speed reading technique.
So that's average?
That's average. It's not acceptable because in this information age, we must be able to read more effectively if we're going to cope with all the material that is presented to us for our consumption.
Okay, are we going to be able to look at a lesson where I will actually be able to improve my speed right now, though?
Well, sure. Let's go on back to the computer here.
All right.
And call up that main menu.
Okay.
And we'll just drop immediately down to lesson 3, which is teaching us to read a phrase at a time.
Okay.
And it is going to break down several of the bad habits. Now, as you can see now, you are getting some prose presented to you, a phrase at a time.
I see.
Facing you down the screen. Now, several things that you are now unable to do are you cannot go back, you cannot reread.
Right.
So it's forcing you now to pace yourself down through the material.
It's really instilling new good habits where I've had bad habits.
Absolutely. Now, you are in total control. As you can see now, the pace is picked up. The greater and less than keys on the keyboard allow you to vary the speed with which the material is presented to you, and you are in complete control of that.
Viewers at home, you might want to read along.
All
here.
right. Now, also the back and forward arrow keys allow you to change the width of the line so that you also can control the amount of information that's presented to you on each line.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going through and moving these keys here to give you
some of the variation.
An idea of what the alternatives might be here. For example, here is a full line of text that I'm presenting fairly slowly now, but you're able to read through that comfortably.
So it's pulling me down the center of the page, and it's giving me information in groups of words rather than in single words.
That's correct. And as you can see, as it's coming down through here, you're finding that you can read each one of those sentences comfortably.
Hey, there's an improvement.
Well, as you can see, you're already up to 278 words a minute and have not really strained yourself at all.
No, really, there was no effort there. As a matter of fact, I felt that I was reading at the same speed.
Yes. In fact, as you are in control of the speed with which this material is presented, you learn to read a phrase at a time, you then learn to read lines at a time, and then it begins to wean you away from the computer so that you feel comfortable in using those same good reading techniques as you pick up magazines, newspapers, and other articles.
Do you think this gets the person using the program more involved in the techniques of speed reading?
Oh, there's no question about it. Since he is in complete control of how the speed reading course is presented to him, we find that the individual tends to pace himself a little faster than it would if someone else were in control.
I see. All right, well, let's take a look at some of the other things that we can do with this program and just let our viewers see the versatility.
Sure. The product is designed to be used both in the home and in education and in businesses for continuing education.
You're looking to put a lot of these in the homes, though, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the principal market for it. What you're seeing on the screen right now is a picture of one of the graphic representations that show my first reading speed, my most recent reading speed, and my fastest reading speed. The product will actually keep records of up to 25 different students in their reading history.
So you really never have a dropout. You can chart your progress all the way from the time you have the program.
For your entire family.
For your whole family and anybody else that wants to come and
That's
participate.
correct.
Well, it's very obvious that anybody interested in improving the speed of their reading, and I'm sure that includes a large group of people, would be at a good advantage here to have this program.
Well, we think so.
And I thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. And we want to urge you to stay with us because there's an awful lot more to come on the Personal Computer Show, including an opportunity for you to win your very own personal computer absolutely free just by watching this show. So stay with us.
This inventory. We've got too many sardines, not enough salmon.
We all could see it coming.
Come on. Where to? The future.
And now that time's at hand.
Computers? We don't know computers. They do.
Make friends with the future at Computerland. Make friends with the future at Computerland.
We've helped more kinds of people buy more kinds of computers than any other store in the world.
The future looks pretty good.
Coming up next, if you'll find something to write with, we'll give you the details on how you could win a Radio Shack TRS-80 Model 4P personal computer absolutely free, just because you're a viewer of today's show.
All you have to do to be eligible is to do the following. First, send us a card with your name, address, and telephone number. Second, tell us what computer you own or would like to own. And third, tell us how you use or would use your computer.
Send your cards or letters to the Personal Computer Show, Radio Shack Giveaway, Post Office Box 5433, San Antonio, Texas 78201.
The TRS-80 Model 4P is a portable computer with a built-in handle, a detachable keyboard, 2 built-in disk drives, a monochrome monitor, and 64K of memory. It's valued at over $1,500, and the deadline for entries is Leap Year Day, February 29th, 1984.
Again, our address is the Personal Computer Show, Radio Shack Giveaway, Post Office Box 5433, San Antonio, Texas 78201.
Next week, we're going to see why packaging is very important in attracting people to purchase software. You'll meet some innovators in this area from Xerox Educational Software who will prove that you sometimes can indeed judge software by its cover.
And we'll see how a magician uses a personal computer to help keep track of his tricks and performances.
We hope you'll join us here again next week at the same time
for the Personal Computer Show.